Hello to everyone and welcome to another video with Feel Good with me, and today we have Dr. Smita who will teach us about Ayurveda and how Ayurveda may help people that suffer with ME and fibromyalgia. So Dr. Smita, nice to meet you, and can you please tell us a little bit about yourself, how did you get into it, and later what is actually Ayurveda? It sounds very different to someone that grew up in the West and in regular kind of science and philosophies, so it's very exotic and interesting.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for inviting me, Eden. I'm so happy to be here with you today, talking about this deep subject. Basically, I am Ayurvedic doctor from India who is practicing for 35 years, a very ancient science of healing. It's around more than 5,000 years old. And I am actually following a lineage which is 2,500 years old. So the meaning of lineage is that this knowledge is what I am practicing is actually coming from the head of the lineage, who was Vaidya Jivaka. And it was then transferred to his student and to his student, and they all added their observations and kept the knowledge. And now all these years of people who have added their observation, this knowledge is now in my custody as a head of this lineage currently. So I'm practicing this along with my late husband, Dr. Pankaj Naram. We both used to practice for 35 years now. And our practice is based on face reading and pulse reading, which literally means that either by looking at your pulse or looking at your face, we can tell you what is imbalanced in your body, whether it is Vata, Pitta, Kapha, whether your Agni is poor, which are the areas where the toxins are blocking your process, and because of that, what health imbalances can come. So that's what we do. And yeah, shortly. And I worked for like 12 years with great success, and a lot of Western medical doctors in Europe, America, published research papers on Ayush Shakti. Ayush Shakti is the company which I'm heading. That was my vision. So our way of healing, they published research papers, and I thought, oh my God, this has to stay beyond my life, beyond my husband's life. And if we are not there, this lineage will die if we don't teach. So we started teaching people and supporting them to become successful Ayurvedic ancient healing practitioner. And that's how the Ayush Shakti chain of clinic evolved. And we have now 150 clinics across the world, in Europe, America, Australia, New Zealand, UK, India, everywhere. And we help every year more or less 120,000 plus people. So that's my story.
That's amazing and impressive. And tell me, just a bit of background for Ayurveda. Like, is it like a lifestyle? Like, how would one, is it a philosophy? How would one live an Ayurvedic life to keep healthy? And maybe you can start, I know it's probably a very big topic, but from birth to old age, how would we live a healthy lifestyle and philosophy? Does it include like the mind, the oxygen we breathe, the food we eat, the thought we have? So can you tell me a little bit about that?
Wow, great question. Ayurveda is really depending on a basic philosophy that the whole universe is made of 5 elements, and we are actually part of the universe. So we represent all 5 elements in us, even the trees, the plants, and any living thing on this planet. Any living being contains these 5 elements in certain proportion, and these 5 elements like earth, water, fire, air, and space has to be in a greatest balance, then everything is balanced. So we have to understand who you are. Like, from these 5 elements are created 3 doshas. Like earth and water makes, for example, kapha. Fire and water makes pitta, and air and space makes vata. So I just want to now explain in a very practical terms how this kapha, pitta, vata are important, and then the key is to keep balancing them throughout the life. Key is to understand what's imbalanced and how to balance. So first, Vata. If you take Vata in our atmosphere, if you look, okay, there is always air flowing, which is responsible for keeping everything clean, and we don't feel suffocated. We get oxygen from there, right? We get the life force from there. And also the pollens are transferred because of the air. So it is also creating a function of transportation. So in our system, our body, there are this subtle air responsible for every kind of movement, You can feel this air in the breathing, of course, because there is one air in the breathing which is pushing out and we exhale. When it's pushing in, we inhale. So in the same way, we have a lot of air molecules responsible for pushing blood circulation or lymph or anything that has to move anywhere. But besides that, Earth space is the empty space. So we have so many hollow, empty organs. And because they are empty, things can flow through them, like arteries or lymphatic system or intracellular transfer. So all of this, that's Vata. But this Vata, when this is in excess, then you feel a lot of gas, bloated all the time. You feel joints pain, aching, whole body pain. You can feel depression, anxiety, no sleep, extreme tiredness. In general, I'm saying in a regular life. Then there are very deep type of problems, health challenges that can come because imbalanced Vata, and there are 80 of them, but I don't want to talk, it's too much then. But Pitta, coming to Pitta, okay, quickly. So Pitta is the heat. It is exactly like the sun energy in this universe. The sun energy literally is actually transferring, or it is taking part like a catalyst in transforming anything from one form to another. Just to take an example, because of the sun, the photosynthesis is happening, and the plant is creating the whatever photosynthesis, and finally the grains are created because of that. These grains, when you collect, and this grain, when we powder, it becomes a flour. There is a subtle heat. So from the whole grain, when you powder them, a subtle heat is formed. If you want to make a bread out of it, you need a heat. When you eat it in the stomach, after half an hour, you feel a little very subtle heat, which we call it Agni. So fire and water element combined together creates this Pitta dosha, which we need for every digestion and metabolism. They are the vital force behind active secretions of enzymes and hormones, which are really taking part in digesting food too, converting them into the tissues. But if this Pitta is high, now imagine, if there's huge amount of heat, what happens in the atmosphere? Everything is burnt, right? No life. Imagine in a desert area, what happens? No life. Everything is dried up because of the heat, excessive heat and no water. So that's what happens in our body when there is too much heat: hair falling, headache, acid reflux, acne, skin problems. Lot of such things are happening. Burning, anger, emotionally, lot of anger. That is connected with Pitta. And then, of course, there are like 40 different illnesses, which I don't want to talk about it. But this is in general you feel in your life. Like somebody feels too much of anger today. Okay, take 1 teaspoon of ghee. Simple. Stop for a few days. Sour, fermented, and spicy food, which increases heat in your body. This is, I don't want to go age-wise because then you get very confused. But I'm just giving a simple idea that if somebody has this symptom, they can just stop few things and they feel better. In the same way, if you feel Vata symptoms like pain, depression, anxiety, fear, no sleep, just take 1 teaspoonful of castor oil at night with ginger tea, and trust me, in few days, this Vata symptom will be calm. You can even take a teaspoonful of ghee with cumin, coriander, fennel tea in the morning. This calms down Vata and Pitta both. So these are simple home remedies. And Eden, is it okay? I can just share these simple things?
Absolutely.
So people can use in their life immediately.
Absolutely. And tell me, if you're a vegan like myself, instead of ghee, can I use coconut oil, or is this
Coconut oil, absolutely. You can use coconut oil, olive oil. If you feel only purely symptoms of Vata, even the sesame oil is the best, I would say. But pure symptoms of Pitta, coconut oil is the best.
fantastic?
So that's like a simple, simple rules you follow and you feel good. Kapha, for example, is a very solid energy. So it's like earth and water element. So earth, imagine our earth, which is giving a shape to our planet, right? And it has this magnetic power due to which we are like not falling off. On the moon, we are just flying off. But on earth we don't. Why? Because of this gravity, the gravity force. So this gravity force in the earth, which creates the capacity to hold, and the water in the earth is nourishing and cleansing, in this moisturizing. In the same way, in our body, we have muscles, bones. These are the earth elements. They give shape to our body. See, my nose is different than yours, right? Why? Because my earth element is different than yours. So, and then we have so many blood and lymph and liquid things, so much of liquid in our body that is really moisturizing, cleansing, nourishing, so many different things. So that's why we need kapha element in our system. Very important. On a mental level, kapha element gives stability. It gives ability to consistently chase your goals. A failure, a small event, failure, temporary, is with the kapha, good kapha in our body, we take it as an event. So what? I move forward and try again. I learn some new things and try again. So that's the kapha nature. Vata will say, oh no, I do this, then I leave it. I do little bit this, I leave it. I do this. So there is no clarity, but there is more creativity in Vata. So every element we need, but in a right proportion. When this kapha increases in our body, imagine what happens. Kapha is responsible for
Kapha, you tell me.
growth. I said it just right now. It is shape and solid structures. So when the kapha increases, we get
So your
excessive
body
growth.
gonna be soft and weak if you have no muscles.
When kapha increases, the body is going to be more obese.
Okay.
Because kapha is a solidity, it's the water. So it can be water retention, there can be obesity, fat, or some people can look very slim, but they have kapha problems like fibroids, cysts, or even extreme scenario cancers, or
Fatty
growth, any
liver.
kind of growth, blockages in the system, type 2 diabetes, block in the pancreas, arterial blockages, all of these are connected with excessive kapha. And also constant allergy, mucus in the respiratory system, asthma, breathlessness, all of these things are kapha related. So this is typically, and if somebody has a little simple home remedy again, okay, because I just want to share and I want to help people. That's why. And my purpose is that people use in their life. So anybody who has some mucus constantly, hay fever, allergies from grass or anything, constantly feeling this mucusy, even children, for example, because children are naturally kapha. They are growing, so they need this kapha. But sometimes excessive kapha creates cough and cold, fever, and what we do is we just suppress. Actually, at that time, we have to help the body to process kapha so they grow. Every child who takes kapha suppressing medicines from prescription doctors, their growth is stopped or hampered. But if you give them no milk at all, no dairy at all, no wheat, no gluten, only these two things you stop, the cough will be reduced substantially, automatically. And you can give just a little home remedy, which is like a herbal tea for kapha. Just take 1 inch fresh ginger, 1 inch cinnamon stick, just 1 or 2 black peppercorn, around 10 basil leaves, 10 or 15, mint, 10 or 15, And you can just crush everything together, boil it, make a herbal tea. You can add honey to make it a bit more tasty, and just sip this herbal tea continuously throughout the day. Children can use it, adults can use it, and immediately you'll feel your congestion is clearing up, your cough is reduced, and you feel much ease in your breathing. And because we are not suppressing kapha here, it's working like a excessive wind. You have only two choices. When there is too much wind, either you lock yourself in the room, or you create a windmill and use it for making the electricity. So when you use this tea, you are using your own kapha to do good for you. It's converted into a good growth for the children. For the adults, it will convert into mental stability. So that's what, you can. So that's like a simple. In general, like, we are always more kapha when we are under 20 because we have to grow. So nature has created that way. After 20 to 40, 45, we are more pitta because we need to achieve something in our life. This is the age when you have ambition, zeal, you have ability to organize things, and then you can move forward, and there is that courage because of pitta. And we need that because we have to create our financial background. So when we retire, we have enough money. So that's why God has created that way, that we have more pitta in this age. While 45, 50 is the age where we are just going towards our old age slowly, slowly, slowly. So Vata is increasing at that period naturally, and you will find all the Vata symptoms more predominant: pain and stiffness and Parkinson's and mental problem, and all this more predominant 45, 50. So, but any age, you can use all the little practical tips I have shared today just to feel better, just to improve your quality of life.
Amazing, amazing. And just quickly, I know we spoke a little bit about mental clarity, anxiety as well, and things like that. So in modern ways and in Western society, so certain elements like pains and aches, we would use maybe medication or a nutritionist, but for things like anxiety and growth and development, we may use therapy. In Ayurveda, do we have the concept of talking therapy like we used to in the West, or is it just mostly through supplements we will unleash certain things? How does it work?
Very interesting question. Yes. Actually, in the section of daily routines in Ayurveda, there is a section where there is a prescription on what kind of an ideal lifestyle we should have every day, typical. In that, there is a mention of doing physical and mental exercising. Like we do our bodybuilding, if you want to create a certain kind of body. For example, I am now 61, and I always want to stay healthy and fit. So, and at this age, everything slows down, metabolism particularly. So I do workout to keep myself fit. That's for the body. But at the same time, our scriptures also says that you have to do every day minimum half an hour of mental gym. Mental gym literally includes listening to positive thinking, listening to, we call it satsanga, which means listening either to spiritual people, because in the end, spiritual people are also kind of creating that kind of a therapy, you can say. By just having faith in the God gives such a great stability in life. And actually, we have God in us, within us. So that God then guides us what to do when we have faith. When we don't have faith, the God says, okay, you don't need me because you don't have faith in me. So I sleep. I don't guide you. So having faith itself is a big factor. So anybody, any spiritual master, teacher from any religion, Christianity, if you look at, they are always talking about having faith in Christ so that there is hope in life. While Hindu religion talks about having faith in the God. Same with Muslim, Allah, and their masters, Muhammad, Prophet, everybody. So it is really, literally this. So you can either listen to spiritual discourses, you can listen to positive coaches. There are so many of them, we know, around the world, right? So this is one thing, if somebody does, the mind will not go off the wagon. Mind has to be always on a trip to positive thinking. And we do have a tendency to get off the wagon very easily. We just get off the wagon and we don't even realize, oh, I'm out. So when we are always listening to this, then we say, oh yeah, this is the direction I have to take. So I think psychotherapy is one, this is second, but third is in a severe situation, it is important to balance Vata in the body and create a good quality of mind, which brings me to talk about, like we have physical prakrutis, we also have mental prakruti of Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. So Sattva is something which is positive mind, always have faith in God, always failure is taken as an event, and say, okay, this is just an event. I am not a failure person. And finds a way to solve the problem, solve the blockages, and go forward to chase the success. Success, I mean, goals can be anything in life. Huh? There are 3 goals. One is financial goal. Second is your health goal. Third is your goal to contribute in society. These 3 goals are important that we are chasing. So any goal, you have to be consistent, and you cannot stop yourself by temporary setbacks. So Sattva Guna is positive, always taking care of others, generous, kind, helping others first, and then they receive in return is a different story, but always focused on helping. While Rajas is always focused on more managing, more. It is necessary also that you have little Rajas, more Sattva, little Rajas, and very little of Tamas. So Rajas is more organizing capacity and more zeal and ambition and moving forward. While Tamas is something where it doesn't want to do anything. So when we do a typical project, a Sattva person with Kapha Prakriti will always listen to everybody and say, okay, you are right, and maybe I am also right, and this is my point of view. Let us examine logically which one is good for this project. So that's Kapha and Sattva in a typical scenario of a meeting. But Pitta person and Rajas person will always say, I am right and you are wrong, and would hardly listen. and Vata person will bring out a lot of creative ideas, but in the end will always say, maybe always doubtful about his own ideas and others' ideas as well, and not so easily willing to examine logically which one is good for this project. So creativity we need, but then we need also Sattva so that we come to a right conclusion. So these 3 are important for us for any success, even in our body. But we have to focus on building Sattva Guna. That can happen only by eating right food like coconut oil, dates, almonds, coconut milk, for example. Somebody can take ghee. Ghee is very Sattva increasing. Fresh food, fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, all of these are Sattva increasing. But everything which is meat, like chicken, fish, etc., spicy food is Rajas increasing. While everything which is preserved, which is on the shelf, and if you look at the labels, you will find half of the ingredients with the numbers on them, which means they are really preserved, processed. Increases only Tamas and creates fear, depression, anxiety. Red meat and processed meat creates immediately Tamas Guna and fear and depression. So food creates a big difference in your life, because what physically you take, that's what you get in your mind, body, and emotions both. And there are a lot of herbal formulas that we give because you need to nourish in the end. It is important that you nourish your system so that it is built strong to get a long-lasting happiness and bliss in your life.
Fantastic. I can just imagine them in the ancient times, all these people sitting together and over generation trying to work a script for us, because we were not born with a script. We have to learn from nature. how to be and what to do. And they just dedicated their lives, so many, to make it, give us guidance. So people and societies.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I now there is a story of this knowledge actually came from the gods, and it came on the planet from the gods to the rishis, the ancient saints, you know, who were meditating so deeply. And I'm surprised that more than hundreds of modern discoveries are already described in Ayurveda, including mention of chromosome and genes in Ayurveda is there already. So it is very surprising how they knew it, but I think it came only through their very deep meditation and connection with the God, that they traveled in the astral body to get this knowledge, and then it was spread on this planet and kept preserved in the text known as Charaka Samhita. So this text literally, Charaka means, Chara means all the rishis which are moving and collecting knowledge, and they are putting it in this book. And that's why it is Charak Samhita.
It's fantastic. It's amazing. It's so inspirational. It's so different to what many of us used to. It's a different world, and it's to be explored, and there's so much to learn and to enjoy. So let's just move a little bit. So if we have symptoms of ME, fibromyalgia, so pain, fatigue, often it comes with digestion, weakness, extreme tiredness. Some of us can sleep and never feel rested. Some of us don't sleep, and of course we feel extremely exhausted, brain fog. Now, it's difficult to tell exactly. Some of us have it, we can remember a virus like post-COVID, or like a long COVID, or mononucleosis, or glandular fever, and some of us it was more a gradual build. What kind of things can Ayurveda help us diagnose it and then make a few suggestions?
Yeah, wonderful question, Eden. But one thing I wanted to add here, which I didn't speak, and that is about Agni. And in the context of fibromyalgia, Agni and Ojas, these two things are very important. So besides understanding who you are, and in fibromyalgia particularly, it is because of excessive Vata and excessive Pitta. Pitta creates inflammation, Vata creates pain. So typically in fibromyalgia, there is inflammation and there is pain. But besides that, there is also depletion of Agni. So Agni is essentially, as I spoke to you, that it is created out of Pitta, but these are essentially the enzymes and hormones which are responsible for creating all kinds of transformation from the food to the tissues in our body. And in fibromyalgia, the Pachak Agni, the Agni at the digestive level is extremely low. And because of that, you know, besides, and that happens because of emotional trauma, okay? So we'll talk about it in a moment. But there are 4 things happening in fibromyalgia. Number 1, Vata and Pitta imbalance. So Vata causes pain, Pitta causes inflammation, severe inflammation of connective tissues, which are the tissues which are connected, we have muscles are like a patch, you know, like a sheet. Each muscles are packed together like a sheet, and they are joined with each other and stuck to each other together in any part of our body through the connective tissue. These connective tissues are everywhere. You can imagine, because we have muscles everywhere. Muscle sheets one by one are packed together everywhere. And these connective tissues are inflamed because of the immune attack and excessive Pitta. And excessive Vata damages it. And because of that, fibromyalgia practically have whole body pain. The pain is as if there is this scorpion bite happening constantly in many parts of the body at a time. Hundreds of red ants are biting you. That kind of a pain is happening. It is really painful. And they have such a situation where a little pain is felt very magnified. So nobody in the family can understand what is fibromyalgia or what is going on with this person. For example, I had one client from UK. She had a fibromyalgia. And a little pain, she was like crying. Oh, I cannot tolerate. Oh, I cannot tolerate. like this, you know. And the family thought she really is going crazy. They put her in the mental hospital, and the doctors gave antidepressant, but it didn't help. Why? Because the pain was so severe, and this pain doesn't get controlled by any painkillers. It's so severe. It's so painful. Only way is to reduce this inflammation and reduce Vata. The second thing is Agni. So Agni is becoming so low, and that is because of the emotional trauma. Most of the fibromyalgia have a history of a severe emotional trauma, most of the time. And this emotional trauma shrinks, according to Ayurveda, the ancient knowledge, whenever you are exposed as a child, under 20 years of age, particularly, with a trauma, you feel alone, you feel betrayed. Suddenly, your parents are giving some stress, separating, and then you get so much stress. Which side I should? You are actually forced to take a side, and you feel so stressed out because you love both of them. Many such situations create what we call as a severe shock to our Agni, the digestive system, and our immune system, these two things. So the digestion is shrunk, suddenly doesn't work very well. And that is why they also, most of the times, also have symptoms of what we call as IBS, which means whatever they eat, they feel heavy, sometimes pain, gases, occasionally loose stool, sometimes constipation, and they just don't know what to eat because nothing is really digested. And then the immune system is so shocked that as a response mechanism, immune system becomes hyperactive. Because Ayurveda says that your immune system is not just physical immune system, okay? In Ayurveda, the ojas, the vital immune system, is actually your protecting mechanism for emotional shocks, physical attacks from the virus, and mental shocks, emotional, mental, and physical shocks, all three of them. So when there is emotional shock, suddenly this trigger autoimmune response, immune system becomes hyperactive and begins to attack our own organ. So here there is also autoimmune. So 4 things we have to correct: Vata, Pitta balancing, Agni increasing, and repairing the gut, because gut is very poorly working here, and lastly, calming the immune system and making it stronger so that it is doing the right job. And of course, helping also with the nervous system, because nerves are completely, with the pain, they are so sensitive that constant pins and needles, pinching, and such a sensitivity. They can't tolerate the noise, they cannot tolerate extreme heat or light, and they cannot even tolerate very tight hug. Somebody is hugging with love, but if it is tight, they will get pain, and they will immediately rebel and say, oh no, 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 please, I don't want anybody to touch me. So this is the kind of situation that's happening from this. So this is what we have to do, balancing all these factors in order to get a complete, long-lasting relief. Can I share a real story? You know, we have clinics, 150 clinics all over the world. So I do travel a lot to visit those clinics, and I train the doctors in those places. So one of them is Dr. Tom Mitchell, who is from North Carolina and in Raleigh. And when I went there, she had one client whose name was Dor. And she had fibromyalgia for more than 10 years. Nothing was working. She was taking a very strong painkillers based on morphine. I don't know if you have ever heard about morphine-based painkillers, which are like extreme things people can take. And she was taking them 4 times a day for 9 years. And still the pain was not really going away. Along with that, depression, extreme chronic fatigue, tiredness, IBS, loose stools, stomach pain, everything. And she could not even sleep at night because of the pain, always crying out of pain. And especially upper area, the upper zone was very painful. Sometimes in the chest also there was pain, and sometimes even the lower area. This is typically what people always express that they have a lot of pain in the jaw and like a nerve pain, you know, like this. So that kind of a pain. And I started actually with the diet, anti-inflammatory, which includes always no wheat at all, no gluten, no dairy at all. So vegan food has gluten, but here no dairy, no gluten. Both are inflammation causing. No red meat. She was not vegan, so I allowed her to just take a little bit of chicken and fish and egg, just a little bit, and more of lots of vegetables, fruits, millet, rice, lentils, and lots of green mung bean, because green mung beans are anti-inflammatory, extremely good. At night, ginger tea with castor oil, 1 teaspoonful. And I also gave her a typical program of a herbal formula, which we have, which includes nerve and muscle nourishing things. So first, remove toxins, restore bone and muscle and nervous system function, and slowly rebuild them. So we have like some couple of formulas like Pain Mukti MJ, Pain Mukti Sandikal, Niramay, which is working on removing the Vata and Pitta from the bones and the muscles and calming the immune system, making autoimmune calm. And she started taking just those 3-4 things. 6 months she took it with the strict diet, very strict diet, and monthly detox. This is very important. I was telling you about Agni, and Agni, when it is very low, it produces poor gut health and produces kind of a mucus, which call it Aama. And this Aama mucus, wherever it goes, it creates blockages in blood supply, and it creates blockages and inflammation. So to reduce Aama, and this can be done by anybody who has Aama symptoms. That is why I want to share it. So somebody has a coated white tongue, heavy feeling in the stomach as soon as you eat something, or you are always feeling lazy, lethargic, you feel sleepy throughout the day because of heaviness. In the morning, you can't pass the stool very well. The stool is sinking in the toilet. These are Aama toxin symptoms. Anybody has this symptom, if they do 5 to 7 days of detox every month, this one, which I gave it to her also. 5 to 7 days of detox, which is only based on green mung bean and vegetables soup fasting. So every time you are hungry, just take green mung bean soup and vegetables. That's it. Okay. And remember, only green mung bean soup and vegetables, nothing else, because sometimes in India particularly, we are great in making food. Okay. You know, Indian food is absolutely delicious. So I had like one client who came to my clinic, and I gave her this vegetable mung soup fasting because she had to lose weight. After 1 week, she comes and she gained weight. I said, why? Oh, I made actually mung bean pakoras. Okay, the pakoras are these deep fried fritters from the green mung bean. I was laughing. I said, oh my God. So important to notice here that just the soup, nothing else, okay, nothing else for 7 days, and then slowly you can start eating normal food again, but absolutely gluten-free, dairy-free, and if possible, meat-free as well, or at least red meat-free. So she did that, and her inflammation was gone. She lost like 30 kilos in 6 months, very less inflamed, very fresh. And after 6 months, you will not believe me, but actually she didn't need any painkillers at all. And her IBS was settled as well. I continued this plan for 1.5 years. After that, I stopped everything, and she's okay now. She doesn't have any fibromyalgia symptoms at all. Nothing. She doesn't even take herbs, except I have told her, please stay away from gluten and dairy forever in your life. Red meat, gluten, dairy, never, never, never. And she follows that. She always follows that. And whenever she eats by mistake, next day she will do mung bean soup fasting. But I said not all the time cheating, okay? I said just 3-4 times a month.
Amazing. No, I'm very happy to hear you helping people and they get better. And I can share for myself, when I stopped the dairy and gluten, my life became a lot more functional very quickly. Very quickly.
Wow. Amazing. So, I agree. I don't take them either. And people say I look much younger than my age.
You do. You look great. And you are a
Thank
living
you.
proof of what you're doing. So it's great.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Smita, thank you so much. I have a feeling we will do another episode in the future because there's so much to learn from you. And for
Yeah.
those who want to get in touch with you and have a consultation, learn about your work, we're going to leave details in the description below. And any other question you have, leave in the comment or get in touch directly with the doctor. She'll have the details there. So thank you again for being with us. Is there any last thing you'd like to share before you go with the audience? You don't have to,
I
any shirt, blanket. We're very grateful.
I just want to say one thing, okay? When we have any problem in our life, whether it is physical, mental, emotional challenges, many times we just run away from that, okay? I just tell people don't run away, but run in that, okay? Run in that, which means take action.
That's beautiful. So you are encouraging us to face the challenges head on.
Face the challenge, take action, not just face it, take right action so that you are out of it and you conquer it, you win it, you become the hero. You can even choose a guide who can help you and direct you according to your challenges. But I think that's the key that everybody should really remember so that life is good.
I like that. Thank you so much. It's really inspirational. So we keep in touch and we wish you all the best. And thank you again for being on the show with
Thank
us.
you. Thanks for inviting me, Aidan. It was great meeting you. Wonderful. Thank you.